let's take a day to you this day of your time. How are you all? All right. All right. We thank you once again for the allowance of this transmission at this time and for the co-creation of this interaction. We will begin this transmission by reminding everyone that the title is the Earth Flat? Now, it is interesting, it is fascinating that a subject such as this that occurred in your society so long ago should come up again at this time and seem to be spreading so prevalently throughout your society for those who are in any way, shape, or form interested in such subjects. It is all over your internet and being discussed with great seriousness by many people. So, there are two parts to this response. Now, we recognize, again, that nothing we say in any way, shape, or form insists that anyone must believe what we have to say. That's not why we share this information with you. But we have our point of view. You can take it or you can leave it. But this is what we will say. First of all, we will begin with a physical discussion of this concept, and then we will move to a metaphysical explanation of why we perceive this conversation seems to be so prevalent in your society at this time. So, first and foremost, we will just be blunt. The Earth is a sphere. Period. Now, the idea is easy to understand if, again, you understand at least some degree of physics or celestial mechanics. You have observed, most of you, the idea of your own astronauts in what you call microgravity or zero-G, and you have seen them playing with liquids. When the liquids are floating freely with no gravity, you see that the liquid forms a sphere. If that liquid were allowed to cool down and solidify, it would remain a sphere. All of the different pressures of the molecular structures, the molecular interactions, and so forth, electric fields, electromagnetic fields, are equally spread out in a sphere in that way. The liquid floating freely, you never see it turn into a disk, ever. You always see it turn into a sphere. So when planetary formation in a solar system begins, and you know that most of the planets at their early stages are molten, liquid, then their natural tendency for a variety of reasons will be to form that sphere, just as the small amounts of liquid do in your astronauts' experiments in zero-G. And when the planets cool, again, they will maintain their spherical form, their dimensional volumetric form. Now, an experiment, a very simple experiment, aside from the idea of seeing liquid floating around in a spherical shape in zero-G, a simple experiment that has already been performed on your planet that demonstrates that your planet is not flat, very simply and very obviously. And this is something you can find on your internet. This experiment was conducted in the following way. Some of you may or may not be familiar with this already. There were people that went to the shore of a lake. You know, many of you, that when you stand on the shore of a lake, if the winds are calm, a lake will appear very, very flat. They brought with them a very powerful laser. A laser beam, as again, many of you know, will shoot out in an extremely straight line. Therefore, what they did is they set up the laser on the shore. They had a boat in the water, not too far from shore, just perhaps several dozen feet, several dozen yards at most. They then turned the laser on, and on the boat had a specific target that the laser could shine on. So when they turned the laser on, you could see the bright dot of the laser on the target on the side of the boat. You could see right there that the laser being parallel to the lake and being very straight, and the lake appearing to be very flat, the laser and the lake were in parallel. Then they decided to take the boat 3 miles from shore. That's all, just 3 miles from shore. And turn the laser on again. The dot now was 6 feet higher. This means that because the laser hasn't changed, the lake hasn't changed, the only thing that could possibly have changed is that the boat is lower. But it's still on the water. To the people on the boat, to the people on the shore, the lake still looks flat. The only explanation is that the boat is lower, which means it is curving away over the horizon slightly. And thus the laser, not having changed, is now, when it first hitting this, is now as the boat lowers, hitting a higher point. This is proof the boat is lowering. This is proof the boat is curving down over the horizon. Very simple experiment. The irony is that many people on your planet who are discussing the idea that the Earth is flat are commenting, are proposing that the Earth is actually flat, and that the fact that it seems spherical is an illusion. Just the opposite is true. The Earth is a sphere, and the fact that it seems flat is the illusion. So, it's a little bit backwards. Now, that's the physics of it, the physical side of it, and again, easy to demonstrate. Even though the lake looks flat, you can easily prove it is not. It is following the curve of the Earth because of gravity. And the boat is lowering below the horizon, hence the raising of the laser dot, because the laser didn't move and the lake didn't change. The only thing that changed was the boat going lower over the horizon. Now, the metaphysics of this, the metaphysical reason that this is coming up, is as follows from our perspective. Many people are now exploring the concept of expanding their consciousness. As you expand your consciousness, you begin to realize that time and space and physical reality are illusions. They're projections of consciousness. They're not really solid things. The idea, therefore, is that many people are beginning to sense this in a very strong way. The idea, in a sense, that because physical reality, space and time are not real, that they are projections of consciousness. The idea to most of you of a projection is something that you see projected on a wall that's flat, a flat picture. In a sense, holographically speaking, a hologram is flat. But you can create the illusion of three-dimensionality, of volume in it, by your angle of viewing, by how you illuminate it. So the issue is that while many people are sensing truly that physical reality, in a sense, metaphorically, isn't really solid, is in a sense flat as a projection, unreal, in other words, they're simply applying too physical of an interpretation to this idea, which again is ironic because the reason they're sensing that is an energy one, a spiritual one, and yet they're interpreting the spiritual causation of recognizing physical reality as being quote unquote flat and unreal as if it were literally true physically. That's why that's happening. They simply are mixing up and confusing the idea of an energetic projection of consciousness with something that's actually happening in the physical reality. But by the definition itself of physical reality, it's volumetric as an experience. You experience the idea of height and width and depth. Therefore, the idea of what might be a flat projection energetically, holographically, still plays out, is still interpreted by consciousness in physical terms as a volume. So even though it may energetically seem to be a disk, physically, a disk has to turn into a sphere. You saw this also presented in some of your films, especially one that recently depicted the concept of what does a black hole actually look like? Many people think of the idea still on your planet that a black hole is, in a sense, a hole, dimensionless, flat, a disk. But it's not. It is something that expresses itself, at least to some degree, in your physical dimensionality. Therefore, a black hole is also spherical. If it weren't, you would not really be able to perceive it. Because things that are truly two-dimensional are not really easily perceivable in your reality. You can see two-dimensional aspects or parts of things, such as your own shadow on the ground, or like we said, a projection of an image on a wall. But you have to understand that the projection is not just the flat image on the wall. The projection coming from a projector is a cone of light that you only see the bottom of on the wall. So you have to understand that anything that is created holographically in a metaphysical, spiritual, energetic sense, in a consciousness sense, by definition is going to present itself volumetrically and three-dimensionally in your experience of physical reality. Therefore, the Earth, in physical terms, is a sphere, even though in energetic, spiritual, non-physical terms, it can be considered flat because it's not real. It's just a projection. So clarity would be important to bring into the conversation so that people can understand that, in a sense, both sides are correct. It's just that they're correct only in a certain context, not across the line from non-physical to physical. These are two different ways of interpreting the idea of the projection of consciousness. And that clarity can be brought into the conversation to allow everyone to know that they are beginning to perceive reality in an important way, that it is a projection of consciousness, that it isn't really real, that it isn't really around you, that you don't really live in it, that physical reality exists within you. As we have said previously during some of these transmissions, the idea of evolving, the idea of raising your frequency, the idea of ascension, the idea of becoming more sensitive, more aware of what you really are and what physical reality experience really is that you finally get to the point where you realize that you actually are the dimension you previously thought you existed in. So, to put it in other terms, most of you still think on the planet that your spirit is inside your body. No, your body is inside your spirit. It's just that your spiritual focus is narrowed down to the parameters of the physical experience. But when you expand your concept of spirit and consciousness, it's that you expand beyond the parameters of the physical focus. You include the body within the greater consciousness that you are. It's a part of you. It's an experience within you. But it's not that the spirit is actually leaving the body. It's just expanding beyond it to include it as part of the experience, but it also becomes so much more than just the experience of the physical personality. Does that make sense? All right. We thank you for allowing us to explain this at this time. Other discussions can be had on this subject during this or any other transmission. But we invite you now to ask your questions and allow us, if we may, to be of service to you.
Let's say good day to you this day of your time. How are you? All right, thank you. We thank you for the co-creation, and we thank you for the polarized synchronicity of going from an aligning tone to an alarming one. Now, let us talk about the idea of karma. Karma is very strongly linked with the idea of synchronicity, very, very much a representation of what we have termed the fourth law. What you put out is what you get back. For many, many generations on your planet, the concept of karma has been linked with the idea of punishment, retribution, vengeance. But really, that is not what it is about. It is more the idea of balancing, of recognizing that if you are putting out a vibration, putting out an idea, putting out a behavior that is out of alignment with what you prefer, with who you prefer to be, in your heart of hearts, that you are always given an opportunity to bring that energy back into alignment, back into balance. In that sense, karma really is a guiding mechanism to allow you to be capable of feeling when you are out of tune, out of alignment, and that vibration of feeling out of alignment, the karmic vibration, in that sense, thus is your guidepost, is your marker, is your alignment tool. It lets you know when you have, in a sense, strayed outside the boundaries of the vibration that represents your natural self, your true self, the vibration that you prefer to be, and allows you to sense, to feel when you are out of alignment with that, so that you can give yourself the opportunity to recognize that, to always know that you are being guided by that vibration, and thus then, if you so desire, if you so prefer, if you so choose, to bring yourself back into alignment by recognizing the vibration as being something other than what you prefer. Now, in that sense, it is a frequency in existence that is representative, shall we say, of your alignment with creation, with all that is representative of your agreement to be a particular expression, to explore certain themes in your life. And when you allow yourself to use this karmic frequency, this karmic vibration, this guiding light, this beacon, this lighthouse called karma, so that you know always where that beam is pointing, where that compass needle is pointing to your true magnetic north, then you will be capable of recognizing how strongly connected to the concept of synchronicity the karmic vibration is. For the idea, of course, is that there is always synchronicity. Synchronicity never stops. It is just that you usually don't really want to recognize it as synchronicity when it is the type of feedback, the type of reflection that you don't enjoy, that you don't prefer. But it's synchronicity nonetheless. So in that sense, you could simply say that karma, the sensation, is really what you might call synchronicity of reflected misalignment. The idea is simply that you are always being given a reflection in life of some circumstance and some situation or some feeling or some awareness or some sensing or sensation that will be reflected at exactly the right place, the right time, exactly the right moment to let you know that you are not necessarily in accord, in alignment with the vibration of your preference, with the vibration of your true self, and that quote-unquote negative synchronicity or karmic vibration will always be there to reflect back to you, to give you yet again another opportunity, along with the feeling of the sensation of the karmic vibration, another opportunity through actual reflected situations and circumstances of knowing that you are not necessarily of the state of being that you prefer to be. So synchronicity in that sense works hand in hand with the karmic vibration to be a reflection, a guiding reflection, to strengthen your ability to tell, to strengthen your ability to discern when you are and are not in alignment with your preferred vibration. The law, as we have described it, the fourth law of what you put out is what you get back, is not always reflected on a one-to-one basis. The idea, of course, is that it is always going to be coming in a form that is representative of the symbolism, of the general theme, of the challenge that you are exploring. It's going to have a similar idea, similar reflection to the concept of the kind of symbols that you experience in dream time. We will discuss that in more detail tomorrow night of your time, but for now, suffice to say that the idea of the way in which negative synchronicity or karmic frequencies are often reflected to you is in circumstances and situations that may not necessarily at first be apparent to the vibration you're giving off. You may wonder why you are in the circumstance you are in, why you are experiencing the kind of difficulty or struggle you are experiencing, why you have run into that particular kind of brick wall. It doesn't necessarily at first seem to have anything at all to do with what you've been thinking about, where you've been aiming for, and so on and so forth. But if you allow yourself to understand how to use these tools, this karmic vibration and this reflective synchronicity of misalignment, you'll be able to take the time to stop, to examine, to explore what it is that has cropped up before you. And in so doing, in being willing to really investigate more deeply the idea of that karmic vibration, you will be surprised and astonished to find the depths of information that lie therein for you, the depths of revelation that the symbols will provide for you, and allow you to truly have deeper insight into where your belief systems lie and what beliefs are in and out of alignment with who you truly prefer to be and what kind of a life you truly prefer to experience in your theme of exploration in physical reality. So the idea involves a great degree of willingness to truly allow the information in. And this has been the struggle and the difficulty for many of you, because having had for so long a negative definition of karma, a punishing definition of karma, when the idea comes up, when the sensation comes up, when the situation and circumstance comes up that is a misaligned reflection, many people don't really want to look at it because they are afraid to look at it, because they have this definition that they're going to be punished for something, that suddenly it amplifies the idea of their fear, the fear that you are not worthy, the fear that you are undeserving, the reinforcement of the idea that you come up short, that you don't amount to anything. All of these ideas that are swirling around in your brains that you have been raised with for countless generations, none of them, I guarantee, none of those negative thoughts about yourself are in any way, shape, or form empirically true. They just simply aren't. I guarantee it. You will never, ever, ever actually discover that you are unworthy. Ever. You may create the experience of feeling unworthy, but you never actually can be unworthy. For again, if you were truly unworthy of creation, believe me, you would not exist. Because creation does not make mistakes. So if you exist, then existence must know that you must exist, must know that you have to be a part of all that is, for without you, all that is would not be all that is. It would be some of what could be. So the fact of your existence, in and of itself, is the first proof that you deserve, that you are in that sense able to experience your birthright of alignment, that you can never be found truly unworthy, even though you can create the experience of that idea. And the second proof, as we have often said, of your worthiness is the very fact that you're able to experience unworthiness. For you are supported so unconditionally, so worthy are you, that you are supported in anything you believe to be true about yourself, including the belief that you are unworthy. That's how worthy you are. That's how loved you are. You are allowed to have experiences of not being loved. You're allowed to have experiences of not being worthy, of not being deserving, because you are deserving of anything you imagine that is true for you. And all that is will never interfere, never stop you from experiencing what you say is the most true thing you believe about yourself. So trust that karma is not there to punish you. It is there to enlighten you, there to illuminate you, there to remind you of your true worthiness, that you are always guided, you are never without guidance by the vibration of all that is like a beacon sending each of you that particular frequency that is your true self, and giving you the ability to experience, to feel, to know, to sense, to see reflections of when you stray from that vibration. Of course, again, you're allowed to have an experience of straying from that vibration, even though you never actually do stray from the ultimate core frequency. You can use your core frequency to make it seem as if you have. That's how powerful a creator you are. You can actually use the vibration of your true self to make yourself seem like someone you don't prefer to be. That's a powerful creation. And the more you are willing to experience the reflections of what you are not, the more you're willing to experience the karmic vibration, the more you're willing to experience the synchronicity of misalignment, the more capable you will be of remaining in the vibration of your true self, because you no longer fear the vibration of karma. You know that karma is your guiding light. It is your friend. It is your governing influence. It is your clear-cut path. It is the vibration that tells you very clearly what and who you are not, so that you can more clearly understand what and who you truly are. More karma. Allow yourselves to view synchronistically the idea of the karmic vibration like a siren. To get your attention. It is, in that sense, pay attention, pay attention. This idea is coming through. It requires great alignment. So you can send your compassion, your help, your assistance, your high vibrations of compassion to those that have created experiences of great misalignment within themselves, so that they are capable thus then of using that experience in a very positive, illuminating, growing way. You can send that vibration to all who create the synchronicity of misalignment, the vibration of those who struggle against the vibration of their true self, who resist their natural selves. Karma is there for you to learn to stop resisting your true natural self, to stop struggling, to stop striving, to stop experiencing the idea in that way of effort. Of course you will always have challenges. Of course you must have some kind of creative pressure in order to grow in a new direction. But none of that has to be viewed or experienced in a negative or misaligned way. Karma is your friend. And when you allow the karmic vibration to truly grow and expand and learn to use it in a positive way, it will no longer remain karma. It might grow to become truckma or busma or even jumbo jetma. But it will grow in ways that will always serve you. Always. You have a joke, most of you know, on your planet. Your karma just ran over your dogma. So drop the dogma and allow yourself to truly understand that karma is the vibration that allows you to remain in that aligned path with your compass needle pointing straight ahead, with the guiding beacon illuminating your way, and all the stepping stones thereon that you yourself have chosen to experience step by step, karma is always at your beck and call, always at the ready to help illuminate the vibration that you are not so that you can more clearly understand the vibration that you are. And that service is the service of a great and unconditionally loving creation. We thank you for allowing us to share this particular notion of karma with you. And in the ensuing conversations that may now arise from this interaction, keep in mind the new karmic vibration and allow it to guide you on your experience and exploration and quest in your life, the life you chose to live. For you yourself are the complete and utter arbiter of your own karmic destiny. Karma is self-imposed, utterly by you.